exposed in our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
CNN's John King has described a panic inside the Democratic Party right now because of President Biden's performance in tonight's debate. He's been hearing from Democratic lawmakers and others around the country. Some within your own party are wondering if President Biden should even step aside. What do you say to that?
Joe Biden is fighting on behalf of the American people, on substance, on policy, on performance. And
but I'm sorry, on substance and policy and performance tonight, I mean, the president's performance tonight clearly was disappointing for his supporters. CNN is reporting Democratic lawmakers watching the debate were worried about the president's performance. One said it was a disaster. Another called it a train wreck.
Anderson, this was a game-changing debate in the sense that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists, it involves elected officials, it involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket, and they're having conversations about what they should do about it.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Wow. That was my takeaway when I watched last night's debate between President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden. It was like watching my senile grandfather speaking to my friends and me being afraid of what he's going to say. Like, I was Jake Tapper. I was literally cutting Grandpa off. Okay, thanks, Grandpa. Thanks. We're good. I mean, that's what Jake Tapper was doing the entire night. He literally was cutting Joe Biden off before he can continue to dig a grave for himself, which didn't really work because, as we saw from the earlier clips, everyone saw what we all saw. Despite the Democrats and the White House and Kamala Harris trying to tell us that the emperor does have clothes, even though we can see he's butt-ass naked. I mean, when he first stumbled and you could tell that he lost his train of thought, he was looking down at his paper and then he just said Medicare. Like, what? Like, I was watching it like this, like I was watching a scary movie. Like, it was so embarrassing, and I actually felt bad for him. I felt like, why are the Democrats putting him out there? Why is his wife, the doctor of education, why is she not stepping in and saying, you know what, Democrats, I know you want him to be the face for whatever reason. I know you've chosen him to be the Manchurian candidate. I know, but this is my husband. He's looking a damn fool, and I'm no longer going to allow you to make him look foolish. So we're going to bow out. We're going to bow out and retire someplace and just go away because he clearly is not competent. But she's not doing that. And some sources are saying that she's the reason why he's still running because she wants the power. She still wants to be in that position, despite the fact that her husband can barely put two words together. I mean, it was so embarrassing, man. It was so embarrassing. And to watch Democrats now falling apart and to watch liberal commentators on CNN. I mean, when CNN, aka Clinton News Network, when they are pretty much saying Biden was a disaster, Biden is a disaster, this is turmoil, this is the Titanic sinking. When they're saying that, yeah, it's bad. It's really, really bad. And here's the thing. Some people are saying, oh, well, they should swap him out for somebody else, right? Swap him out. He's clearly he's not ready. He's not prepared. He's not all there. The problem, though, is he's already done the first debate. So we've already seen just how ill-prepared he is and how incompetent he is, right? So even if they switch him out now, it still looks bad on the party itself because they put him out there to begin with. So that just goes to show how bad their judgment is, that they still used this man who can barely put two words together, who barely found the podium to stand at. They picked him. So that shows lack of judgment. That shows incompetence. That shows how disorganized that entire party is. And at this point, it's too late. At this point, it is too late. You could put any Democrat you want in place of Joe Biden, and it's too late. The party is a hot mess. And also, what happens to the second in command, Kamala Harris? See, she's she's ranking even lower than Joe Biden. So what happens if Joe Biden leaves? Is she going to step up? And if she does, disaster, because nobody likes her. If she doesn't and somebody else steps in place for Joe Biden, are they going to make Kamala their vice president since she's clearly still breathing? Right? Like, what happens to her? Like, there's just way too many variables right now that don't make it easy for this party. They are scrambling. They are literally chasing their own tail right now, unsure what to do. Let's look at a clip of CNN imploding right after the debate and what they had to say. It was gold.
And Chief National Correspondent John King. John, let me start with you. Your thoughts.
Anderson, this was a game-changing debate in the sense that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists, it involves elected officials, it involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket, and they're having conversations about what they should do about it. Some of those conversations include, should we go to the White House and ask the president to step aside? Other of the conversations are about, should prominent Democrats go public with that call? Because they feel this debate was so terrible. They do say, in moments in the debate later, the president got better and got his footing, but then at the end, even his closing statement was a little halting. But I can tell you, it started minutes in. It started with the first couple of answers, and it has continued throughout the night from a, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, to what do we do about this? And it involves very senior people in the Democratic Party, including elected officials, saying we have a problem.
And just to co-sign what John is saying, I mean, the panic that I am hearing from Democrats is not like anything that I have heard. But the problem for Biden was that Trump was able to take sometimes incredible falsehoods and turn them into some kind of argument, whereas Biden's answers were, in a lot of cases, not coherent, deeply problematic, that he was not able to take pretty straightforward answers and answer them to the American public, and then also at some points bringing things up that teed up Trump attacks. So there's a real concern here tonight that there's been some real damage done that cannot be undone. Biden solidified the perception among voters, but especially among his base. They were hoping that tonight would be a game changer. They are now seeing a president who is in the White House, who they do not necessarily believe can do this for another 4 years.
Listen, if anybody in America thinks that was even close to being an okay debate by Joe Biden, I'm living in a parallel universe. That was an unmitigated disaster for President Biden from the second he walked out to the closing statement. The biggest issue for Democrats is abortion, and he couldn't give an answer. He gave an answer, he couldn't even give a coherent answer on the biggest issue for Democrats tonight. I've heard from leading Democrats across the United States, elected governors, congressmen, who are texting me and saying, I'm worried I'm going to lose if Joe Biden's at the top of the ticket. Bob Casey, I promise you tonight, in the state of Pennsylvania, is thrown up in his mouth because he knows that if he's got to stand next to Joe Biden, he's going down in Pennsylvania. If he's on the ticket, I don't know how it's going to work.
Look, there is no two ways about it. That was not a good debate for Joe Biden.
Ben?
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. And he looked, I'll give you the analysis, you kind of have the old man versus the con man. I can walk you through how I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart. I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his country. He's doing the best that he can. But he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain.
You cannot tell me democracy is on the line and then give that performance tonight. If, based on that, in 18 weeks, Donald Trump will be the president-elect.
Love Joe Biden for kicking him out. They don't want him back. They came into this debate nervous that Biden was in a weak position. They leave this debate panicked.
John, if you love the guy, how could you put him out there?
That's hard.
If you love him, if you love Joe Biden, if that was my father, you don't put a guy in that situation.
It's a great point. These guys know this better. These guys know this better because they talk to them. There's this legacy in the Democratic Party. You don't challenge the incumbent because when it's happened in the past, they haven't beaten the incumbent, and then the incumbent has lost the general election.
I mean, when CNN is imploding like what we just saw from every single commentator. I mean, poor Van Jones. Poor Van Jones. Van Jones is the same person who said that Donald Trump winning in 2016 was a white lash because people were so upset that they had 8 years of a black president. What he failed to realize is that who made Biden not a one-term but a two-term president? Oh, that's right. It would be white people. But of course, Donald Trump wins and it's a white lash. It's because of racism. It's not because the Democratic Party is trash. Can't be that. This was golden. I'm sorry. I mean, I watched that entire segment last night with a smile on my face because these are the same people that tried to tell us again that the emperor did have clothes on, that Biden was competent, that it was just hyperbole from Republicans who were trying to create a bad narrative of Joe Biden not being competent and not being prepared and not being ready and not being sufficient enough to even be on that stage, much less to another 4 years. They told us we were crazy, and now they have to eat their own words live on TV. I want you guys to watch this last clip that I thought was pretty freaking amazing of Donald Trump. Now listen, say what you want about Trump. You may not like his policies if you're not a Trump fan, right? But one thing that I respect about Donald Trump is he says what he means and he means what he says. He's the same person that he was 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 16 years ago, 20 years ago. The same person. If you watch Donald Trump back in the early 2000s when he was on The Apprentice and he was fighting with Rosie O'Donnell and he was in the public eye, you know, when liberals loved him, he's the same person. He has not changed. He has not changed. His demeanor is the same. His comebacks are the same. He's still as sharp as he was 20 years ago. Whereas Biden, just within 4 years, has drastically gotten worse. And worse and worse and worse. But this clip kind of sums it up. As Biden is mumbling, I don't know what he's even saying, Donald Trump responded with this.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
I mean, what do you say? What do you say? I was embarrassed. I watched that. I laughed when he said that because that was funny. But it also is sad because what he's saying is absolutely correct. Like, Biden doesn't even know what he's trying to say, which is why he just mumbles a bunch of talking points that he can maybe remember in hopes that it sounds coherent. Did you buy it? No. We didn't buy it. Sorry. And what Biden also did that was really bad was he kind of set Trump up to have really great comebacks. Like, there was a point where Biden talked about Afghanistan and how when Trump was president, Afghanistan was still at war, and trying to bring that up, which Trump walked right into that and said, oh, really? Okay, let's talk about Afghanistan. Let's talk about how you had one of the worst exits from that country. Let's talk about the disaster that was your administration when you pulled out of Afghanistan and left all of our allies on the ground without any protection. Without any protection. It was a total disaster. And that was under your reign, Mr. President. So it was like moments like that, you know, like he just wasn't able to steer away from anything. Even him bringing up Donald Trump being a convicted felon. Donald Trump came back and said, and so was your son. So was your son. You know, it's like, dude, you weren't ready. You weren't ready. And you're not going to be ready. Not next week, not next month, not next year. You're not ready. You're not ready. But unfortunately, this is who the Democrats want because the establishment has spoken, and there it is. So when Donald Trump wins in November, we can all thank the Democrat Party. for being fools. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys watched this debate. What was your takeaway? What did you think? Were you were you hiding like I was at the cringiest moments? I would love to know your perspective and your thoughts down below. If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit my notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. If you want to see more political and social commentary reactions from yours truly, click over here on this link and you can watch over 100 videos of me. Until next time, peace.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.